If you need to learn how to talk to a lady, ask your mum.
Hey guys, and welcome back to this week's video. Today I'm going to be showing you 2 different ways to make scrunchies with your leftover scrap yarn. For the first method, I'm going to be using a hair tie, and for the second method, I'll be using some elastic. So to make the first scrunchie, I'm going to be using a 4-weight yarn, a 4mm crochet hook, and 1 hairband. To begin, I have my yarn on the hook, and I'm going to chain 13. Now that I have my chain, I'm going to grab my rubber band and thread through the chain. I'm going to make sure that the chain doesn't twist up, and I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch. And I'm going to chain 1. To begin the next row, I'm going to add a row of half double crochets, and I'm going to go into the very first stitch. And here's my very last stitch. At this point, I'm going to find where I chained 1 and slip stitch into that stitch. And that completes our first row. For the second row, I'm going to chain 1 again and add another row of half double crochet. And back again at the end of my row, I'm going to slip stitch into the chain 1 space. And now I'm going to continue to add rows until it can fill up the entire rubber band. So now I'm back and I've crocheted about 50 rows in total. And for the very last step of the scrunchie, I'm going to be attaching both of the openings to each other with a slip stitch. And that's the first scrunchie completed. For the second scrunchie, I'll be using black and white red heart yarn, some elastic, a 5mm crochet hook, a darning needle, and an optional safety pin. Starting with my yarn on the hook, I'm going to chain up to 2 inches. So I've chained 10, and I'm going to chain 1 more, and I'm going to single crochet back all along the 10. At the end of my row, I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. I'm going to keep adding rows of single crochet until I get the length around 15 to 16 inches long. And I'll be back when I have my rectangle. So now I'm back and I've finished my rectangle, and the correct dimensions for this scrunchie are 3 inches tall and 15.5 inches wide. So from this point, my next step is to add some white yarn along the top and the bottom of the scrunchie. I'm going to add on my white yarn and pull through. I'm going to go into the first stitch at the corner and start my single crochets. Once I've reached the end of the row, I'm going to cut the yarn and tie a knot. For this side, I've tied on the yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And into that same first stitch, I'm going to single crochet and continue to add a row. Now that I have both of my borders done, the next step is to crochet both of the ends together. To do this, I'm going to fold my rectangle in half and add a single crochet all along the white border. I'm going to pull up a loop, and now I'm just going to single crochet along the top. My next step at this point is to turn the work inside out. And I'm just going to use my crochet hook to help me at this point. So now that my work is right side out, I'm going to take my elastic, measure it around my wrist, and tie off a knot. And next, I'm going to use a safety pin to help weave the elastic through the scrunchie. And now that I have my elastic pulled through, I'm going to tie off a knot. And to complete the scrunchie, I'm going to be using a needle to weave both of the openings together.